The alarm on the bridge of the Star Voyager wasn't loud, but it caught everyone's attention. Lisa Moore looked up from her science station, her eyes wide with surprise. "Captain, I'm picking up unusual readings from the third moon of the gas giant," she said, pushing her red hair behind her ears. "There's something alive down there." Captain John Miller walked over to her station and looked at the screen. The barren moon shouldn't have any life forms. It had no atmosphere to speak of and temperatures that dropped well below freezing when not in direct sunlight. "Are you sure it's not an equipment malfunction?" he asked. Lisa shook her head. "I've run 3 separate scans. There's definitely a biological signature. And it's big." John stroked his chin thoughtfully. They were the first human ship to explore this sector of the Orion Arm. Finding life where none should exist could be an important discovery. "Prepare a landing team," he ordered. "I want Dr. Wright for his cynobiology expertise and Kate Russell for security." 30 minutes later, the small shuttle touched down on the gray, dusty surface of the moon. The 3 team members stepped out in their environmental suits, boots crunching on the rocky ground. "The reading is coming from just beyond that ridge," Lisa said, pointing to a line of jagged rocks about 100 meters away. As they climbed over the ridge, they stopped in their tracks. In a shallow crater lay an enormous creature unlike anything they had ever seen. It was at least 15 meters long, with a body covered in scales that shifted colors like oil on water. Multiple limbs of different sizes and shapes extended from its body. What looked like deep wounds crisscrossed its form, oozing a thick blue fluid. "My God," whispered Dr. Alan Wright, the ship's xenobiologist. "It's incredible." Kate Russell, always cautious, raised her stun rifle. "Is it dangerous?" Alan approached slowly, scanning the creature with his handheld device. "It's badly injured. I don't think it could hurt us even if it wanted to." Lisa knelt beside what appeared to be the creature's head, where several eye-like organs blinked weakly. "It's dying," she said softly. Alan nodded grimly. "These wounds, they weren't caused by natural means. Something or someone attacked it deliberately." Lisa activated the universal translator on her suit. Although it was designed primarily for humanoid speech patterns, it might pick up something. "Can you understand us?" she asked, directing her words to the creature. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Lisa gasped and stumbled backward. The others rushed to her side. "What happened?" John asked over the comm from the ship. It spoke to me," Lisa said, her voice shaking. "Not with words exactly. I felt it in my mind. Pain. So much pain. And abandonment." Alan ran more scans. "Captain, this creature isn't just sentient. Its neural activity suggests an intelligence that might far exceed our own. And there's something else. Some of these wound patterns match weapons used by the Galactic Coalition races." John's voice was grave when he responded. "Are you saying Coalition species did this?" "It's possible," Alan replied. "And the creature? I think it's trying to communicate more." Lisa approached again, more carefully this time. "We're not here to hurt you," she said. A wave of feelings washed over her: gratitude, surprise, confusion. "I think it's shocked that we're trying to help," she told the others. Kate lowered her weapon slightly. "Can we do anything for it?" Alan looked uncertain. "I don't know. Its biology is like nothing I've studied, but we can try." "Captain," Lisa called, "we need to contact the Coalition outpost. They might know what this creature is and how to help it." "Already on it," John replied. "They're sending representatives. ETA 3 hours." As the humans worked to stabilize the alien beast, none of them realized they had just stumbled into an ancient conflict that would test humanity's place in the galactic community. And none of them could predict that their simple act of compassion would forever change the course of interstellar history. 3 hours passed slowly as the human team did what they could for the wounded creature. They placed emergency medical patches over the worst wounds to slow the blue fluid loss. Alan believed this fluid was the creature's blood. Lisa continued trying to communicate with it through simple thoughts and feelings. A flash of light in the sky announced the arrival of the Coalition representatives. Their sleek silver ship was much larger and more advanced than the human shuttle. It landed about 50 meters away, kicking up dust that settled slowly in the moon's low gravity. "They're here," Kate said, standing up straight. She kept her hand near her weapon, just in case. The Coalition ship's ramp extended, and 7 different alien beings emerged. Each wore an environmental suit custom-made for their unique biology. The tallest one, with 4 arms and skin like polished stone, approached the humans. "I am Ambassador Scathar," he said through a translator. His voice sounded cold and mechanical. "We received your distress call about a wounded creature." John stepped forward. "I'm Captain John Miller of the Star Voyager. Thank you for coming so quickly." Scathar glanced at the huge creature lying in the crater. His eyes narrowed. "A Voidwalker," he said, and the other Coalition representatives murmured among themselves. None of them moved any closer. "You know this species?" Alan asked eagerly. "Can you help us save it?" The ambassador turned his gaze to Alan. "Save it? No, human. This beast was targeted for termination." The humans looked at each other in shock. "Termination?" Lisa asked. "But it's intelligent. We've made contact with its mind." Another Coalition member, a floating orb of swirling gases, moved forward. "The Voidwalkers are dangerous and unpredictable. They were once respected as guardians of cosmic balance, but that was long ago." Scathar nodded. "Centuries passed. One of these creatures destroyed an entire planetary system. Since then, Coalition law has required their elimination for the safety of all." John frowned. "This seems extreme. What proof do you have of this destruction?" "Our historical records are not up for debate," Scathar replied sharply. "This Voidwalker was targeted legally, but it escaped. The crash on this moon was unexpected." The human team looked at the wounded creature with new understanding. It wasn't just injured, it was running for its life. "How many Voidwalkers are left?" Alan asked. One of the shorter aliens with blue skin and large eyes spoke up. "Very few. Perhaps less than 10 in the entire galaxy." "So they're endangered," Lisa said. "And you're hunting them to extinction based on something that happened centuries ago." Scathar's face hardened. "Human opinions on Coalition matters hold no weight. Your species has been denied membership 3 times for good reason. You are too emotional, too unpredictable, much like the Voidwalkers themselves." John stepped between the ambassador and his crew. "We respect Coalition law, but this creature is suffering. What if the historical accounts were wrong?" "They are not wrong," Scathar said firmly. "We will now take a vote on this matter, as is our custom." The 7 Coalition representatives formed a circle and communicated silently through their suits. It took only moments before they turned back to the humans. "The vote is unanimous," Scathar announced. "This Voidwalker will be left to die naturally. No intervention is permitted. The course of nature must be respected." "Nature?" Alan couldn't hide his anger. "There's nothing natural about wounds from energy weapons." The ambassador ignored him. "We have made our decision. You humans should return to your ship and leave this moon. This is not your concern." Without another word, the Coalition representatives turned and walked back to their ship. Minutes later, they were gone, leaving only a cloud of dust behind. The human team looked at each other in disbelief. "They're just going to let it die," Lisa whispered. She could still feel the creature's pain in her mind. John's jaw tightened as he stared up at the stars. "We need to get back to the Star Voyager and discuss this with the whole crew. We have a difficult decision to make." As they boarded their shuttle, the Voidwalker reached out weakly with its mind, sending a feeling of resignation and gratitude for their brief kindness. It had expected to die alone. Back on the Star Voyager, Captain John Miller called the entire crew to the main gathering hall. All 42 crew members sat in rows, watching as John explained the situation. Lisa, Alan, and Kate stood beside him, adding details when needed. "So that's where we stand," John said when he finished. We found a dying creature that the Coalition has abandoned. They've made it clear that helping it goes against their laws. Steve Bennett, the ship's chief engineer, stood up. He was a tall man with dark skin and strong hands. "Captain, I don't like this. We're new to space exploration. Earth has been trying to join the Coalition for years. If we go against their decision, we might ruin our chances forever." Several crew members nodded in agreement. Maria Lopez, the navigation officer, raised her hand next. "With all respect to Steve, I disagree. We took an oath to explore space with honor and compassion. If we leave a thinking being to die when we could help it, what does that say about humanity?" The room erupted into heated discussion. Some crew members worried about political consequences. Others argued about moral duties. John let them talk, watching their faces carefully. Dr. Alan Wright stepped forward with a tablet in his hand. "I've analyzed the scans we took of the Voidwalker," he said, and the room grew quiet. "This isn't just a smart animal. Its brain activity is complex, possibly more advanced than our own. The patterns suggest it's struggling to maintain a smaller form. Its true nature might be beyond what we can understand." Lisa added, "When it touched my mind, I felt wisdom, not just intelligence. It felt ancient, like it had lived for thousands of years." Paul Johnson, the medical officer, scratched his head. "Could we even help it? Its biology is completely foreign to us." "We can try," Alan replied. "Between my xenobiology knowledge and your medical skills, we might be able to stabilize it long enough for natural healing to take over." Kate Russell, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "The Coalition said there are less than 10 of these beings left in the galaxy. We could be witnessing the extinction of a species that's been around since before humans existed." John raised his hands for quiet. "I won't force anyone to participate in this. The Coalition might retaliate against Earth if they learn we interfered. I'm calling for a ship-wide vote. This decision affects all of us." He set up an anonymous voting system on everyone's personal devices. The question was simple. Should they help the Voidwalker despite the Coalition's warning? For 5 minutes, the room was silent except for the soft beeps of fingers tapping screens. When the voting ended, John looked at the results and smiled. 39 votes to help. 3 votes against, he announced. "Looks like we have our answer." Steve Bennett stood up again. "I voted against it," he admitted, "but I'll work just as hard as everyone else to save that creature. If we're doing this, we're doing it together." The crew applauded, and John felt pride swell in his chest. "This is the essence of humanity," he told them. "Compassion in the face of fear, standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult. Now let's form teams and figure out how to save a Voidwalker." As the crew dispersed to prepare, Lisa approached John privately. "Captain, the creature is reaching out again," she whispered. "It can sense our decision somehow. It's surprised. I don't think any species has shown it kindness in a very long time." John nodded. "Well, it's about to get a crash course in human stubbornness. We're not going to let it die without a fight." With new purpose, the crew of the Star Voyager began preparing for a rescue mission that would challenge everything they knew about alien life and their own place in the universe. The next 24 hours on the barren moon were the most challenging of the Star Voyager crew's lives. They established a base camp around the wounded Voidwalker, setting up portable medical equipment and environmental shields to create a controlled area. Dr. Alan Wright and medical officer Paul Johnson worked side by side, developing a treatment plan based on their limited understanding of the creature's biology. They studied the blue fluid leaking from its wounds and discovered it had remarkable regenerative properties. "If we can use its own blood to create a healing compound," Hall suggested, "its body might accept it better than anything we could make." Alan nodded excitedly, "Like using its own medicine. Brilliant." Meanwhile, Steve Bennett designed a special containment environment. The Voidwalker seemed to respond well to certain energy frequencies, so Steve created a field that mimicked these patterns. "It's like a comfort blanket," he explained to Captain John, "but made of energy instead of cloth." Lisa Moore spent hours sitting near the creature's head, maintaining their mental connection. Through fragments of thoughts and feelings, she learned what helped ease its pain. It responds to music, she told the team, especially soft sounds with regular rhythms, like heartbeats. Ben Collins, the communications specialist, joined her. He was a quiet man with gentle hands and a gift for languages. When he sat beside the Voidwalker, something unexpected happened. "I can see images," he gasped. "It's showing me memories." The rescue operation faced a major setback during the second day. While Kate Russell was helping to apply a regenerative patch to one of the larger wounds, the creature suddenly convulsed. One of its limbs struck Kate, sending her flying across the crater. "Kate!" Alan shouted, rushing to her side. Her environmental suit was damaged, and she was barely breathing. Paul quickly got her stabilized and sent her back to the ship for treatment. "The creature didn't mean to hurt her," Ben explained, his voice strained from the mental connection. It felt a sudden pain when the patch touched a sensitive area. For 72 hours straight, the team worked in shifts. No one complained about missed sleep or meals. Every small improvement in the Voidwalker's condition felt like a personal victory. On the third day, something remarkable happened. Ben, who now maintained the strongest telepathic link with the creature, began receiving clearer visions. "I can see its home," he told the others, his eyes wide with wonder. "It's beautiful, like nothing I've ever imagined. And I'm seeing other Voidwalkers too. They once had a whole civilization." John frowned. What happened to them? Ben's face darkened. War. Misunderstanding. The Coalition species were afraid of them. As Ben spoke, the Voidwalker began to glow softly. The worst of its wounds were closing, the scales regaining their iridescent shine. The team watched in amazement as the creature lifted its head slightly for the first time. "It's working," Lisa whispered. "It's actually healing." That evening, as most of the team rested, Ben remained with the Voidwalker. His connection with it grew stronger by the hour. The creature shared more memories, showing Ben glimpses of stars being born and planets forming. Ben realized he was seeing history from the perspective of a being that had lived for thousands of years. "You're much more than what they think you are, aren't you?" Ben asked softly. The answer came as a gentle wave of confirmation in his mind. Suddenly, Ben stood up straight, his face pale. "Captain," he called urgently over the comlink. "The Voidwalker is warning us. Coalition ships are returning, many of them, and they're not happy." John's voice was firm when he responded. "Understood. Tell our new friend not to worry. We're not going anywhere." 3 Coalition ships appeared in the sky above the moon, larger and more threatening than the first one. They landed in a triangle formation around the human camp, surrounding the Voidwalker and the Star Voyager crew. Captain John Miller stood tall as Ambassador Skithar, and 12 other Coalition representatives approached. John noticed they carried weapons this time. "What is the meaning of this?" Skithar demanded, his voice sharp with anger. "We instructed you to leave the creature to die." "We made a different choice," John replied calmly. "The Voidwalker is intelligent and didn't deserve to die." Another alien, shaped like a tall insect with glowing eyes, stepped forward. "You have violated Coalition law. This could result in serious penalties for your planet." Ben Collins stood near the Voidwalker's head, his eyes closed as he maintained their mental link. He opened them suddenly and spoke. "The Coalition is wrong about the Voidwalkers," he said. "I've seen its memories. These beings didn't destroy that planetary system centuries ago. They were trying to save it." Skithar turned to Ben. "What nonsense is this? How could you possibly know that?" "It's sharing its memories with me," Ben explained. "The Voidwalkers are ancient, far older than the Coalition. They called themselves Starlight Guardians in their language. They were cosmic caretakers, maintaining balance long before your species even traveled to space." The Voidwalker's body glowed softly as Ben spoke, as if confirming his words. That incident that led to their persecution was a misunderstanding, Ben continued. A quantum singularity threatened to destroy multiple star systems. The Voidwalkers tried to contain it. Your ancestors saw the energy being used and thought it was an attack. Lisa stepped forward. We can feel the truth of this. When we connect with its mind, there's no malice, only sadness at being so misunderstood. Scathar shook his head. These are tricks. Mind games. The beast is manipulating you. Dr. Alan Wright held up his tablet. Our scans show its neural patterns are too complex for simple deception. And look at these readings. He showed the screen to the coalition representatives. Its biology suggests it exists partially in dimensions we can't even perceive. That's why they call themselves Guardians, Ben added, his voice taking on a distant quality as he channeled the creature's thoughts. They could see threats to reality that other species couldn't detect. The coalition representatives muttered among themselves. One of them, a being made of what looked like liquid crystal, moved closer to examine the Voidwalker. It's healing much faster than expected, the crystalline being observed. This activates our security protocols. We must neutralize it immediately. John stepped between them and the Voidwalker. We won't allow that. You have no choice, Scathar said coldly. Our ships have weapons trained on your vessel. Stand down or face destruction. The human crew looked to their captain. No one spoke, but their faces showed they would stand by his decision. John took a deep breath. We still choose to protect it. Ben suddenly gasped, nearly falling to his knees. The other humans rushed to steady him. What is it? Lisa asked. It's showing me something important, Ben whispered. Something the Coalition has been ignoring for centuries. A threat coming from beyond the galaxy. Something terrible that only the Voidwalkers can see. The Voidwalker's body pulsed with blue light, growing stronger by the minute. Its largest wounds had closed completely now. This creature isn't just a guardian, Ben said, looking directly at the Coalition representatives. It might be one of the last defenders against something that could destroy us all. Scathar hesitated, then raised his hand to signal the other representatives. We will give you one planetary rotation to remove yourselves from this moon. After that, we will take action, with or without your cooperation. As they walked back to their ships, John turned to Ben. Is what you said true? About a threat? Ben nodded, his face grave. Yes. And it's coming soon. The Voidwalker wants to show us more, but it needs to complete its healing first. Then we'll make sure it gets that chance, John said, watching the Coalition ships warily. As the deadline approached, the Voidwalker's recovery accelerated beyond anything the humans had expected. Its wounds were nearly healed, and its body glowed with increasing strength. The iridescent scales shimmered with colors that seemed to shift in and out of the visible spectrum. Ben Collins sat with the creature constantly now. The mental connection between them had grown so strong that Ben sometimes struggled to separate the Voidwalker's thoughts from his own. It's amazing, he told the others during a brief rest. The Voidwalker is sharing knowledge about energy patterns and cosmic forces that our scientists haven't even theorized yet. Dr. Alan Wright studied his latest scans with wide eyes. This creature isn't just healing. It's evolving somehow, responding to our help in a way that's changing its very nature. Lisa nodded. I can feel the difference too. Its mind seems clearer, more focused, almost as if our compassion woke something up inside it. From orbit, they received word that more Coalition ships had arrived. The Star Voyager counted 20 vessels now, all with weapons aimed at the moon's surface. Captain John Miller called everyone together. We have less than 2 hours before their deadline. I need options. We could try to get the Voidwalker aboard our ship, Maria suggested. Maybe escape to a safer location. Steve shook his head. It's too large for our cargo bay, even if we cleared everything out. And the Coalition would just follow us. Kate added. She had recovered enough to rejoin the team, though she still moved carefully. Their ships are faster than ours. John looked at Ben. What does the Voidwalker say? Ben closed his eyes for a moment. It's grateful for our help, but it doesn't want us to die for it. It says we should leave while we can. That's not happening, John said firmly. We don't abandon friends. As they discussed their limited options, the communication system beeped. Ambassador Scathar's face appeared on the screen. Your time is nearly up, humans, he said. Our weapons are locked on both your ship and the beast. This is your final warning. John stepped closer to the screen. Ambassador, we've learned important information about the Voidwalkers. They weren't destroyers. They were protectors. The incident centuries ago was a misunderstanding. Lies fed to you by the creature, Scathar replied coldly. Then explain why it hasn't harmed us, John countered. We've been vulnerable this whole time. If it wanted to attack, it could have. Your naivety will be your downfall, the ambassador said. Prepare for our arrival. This ends now. The screen went dark. The humans exchanged worried glances. What do we do, Captain? Paul asked. John straightened his shoulders. We stand our ground. Position the Star Voyager between their landing site and the Voidwalker. We'll broadcast our findings about the Voidwalkers to every ship in range. Maybe some of them will listen to reason. As the crew moved to carry out his orders, a strange vibration ran through the ground. Ben gasped, his hands flying to his head. It's happening, he shouted. The Voidwalker's body began to transform. Its solid form dissolved into swirling energy, and matter growing larger and more complex. The humans watched in awe as it rose up, no longer resembling a wounded beast, but becoming something beautiful and impossible to fully comprehend. Tendrils of light extended from the Voidwalker, surrounding the human camp and the Star Voyager in a protective bubble of energy. Through Ben, it spoke to them all. You showed kindness when all others showed fear. You risked yourselves for a stranger. Now I will protect you. The coalition ships landed, and armed forces began to march toward them. But when they tried to fire their weapons, the energy was absorbed harmlessly into the Voidwalker's shield. Through Ben, the Voidwalker sent a message to the stunned coalition forces. I mean you no harm, as I never did. But there is something far worse approaching from beyond the galactic rim. Something you have ignored for too long. Images flooded into every mind present, human and coalition alike, a vast darkness spreading between stars, consuming light and life, a wave of entropy that had been slowly approaching for millennia. We must speak, the Voidwalker communicated. All of us, before it's too late. In the days that followed, an incredible meeting took place on the barren moon. The Voidwalker, now revealed in its true form as a being of swirling energy and light, created a space where all could gather safely. Coalition representatives from 27 different species joined the humans of the Star Voyager. Through Ben Collins, who still maintained the strongest mental connection, the Voidwalker shared its full story. Images and memories flowed into the minds of all present. The ancient history of the Voidwalkers, their role as guardians of cosmic balance, and the tragic misunderstanding that led to their near extinction. We existed before your civilizations reached the stars, the Voidwalker explained through Ben. We watched over the great cycles of creation and destruction, ensuring that balance was maintained. When the quantum singularity threatened your world centuries ago, we sacrificed many of our kind to contain it. Your ancestors saw only destruction and feared us. Ambassadors Scathar and the other coalition leaders watched in stunned silence as the truth unfolded before them. Their historical records have been incomplete, colored by fear rather than understanding. But that is the past, the Voidwalker continued. Now we must focus on the future. The wave of entropic decay approaches from beyond the galactic rim. It consumes all in its path, breaking down the very fabric of reality. The Voidwalker showed them visions of stars winking out, planets dissolving into nothingness, and entire systems vanishing from existence. This cosmic unraveling had been slowly advancing for millennia. Why have we detected nothing of this threat? A coalition scientist asked. It exists partially in dimensions you cannot yet perceive, The Voidwalker answered. My kind evolved to sense these disturbances. We tried to warn the younger races, but our efforts were misinterpreted as aggression. Captain John Miller stepped forward. What can be done to stop this threat? Alone, nothing. But together, we might create a barrier. The few remaining Voidwalkers cannot do this by ourselves. We need the combined technology of the Coalition and the unique perspective of humanity. Our perspective? Lisa asked. What do we have that others don't? The Voidwalker's energy pulsed gently. You humans see possibilities where others see only limitations. You acted with compassion when logic dictated abandonment. That quality, that humanity, may be what saves us all. For the first time, Ambassador Scyther approached the Voidwalker without fear. On behalf of the Coalition, I extend our deepest apologies for the persecution of your kind. We were wrong. The Voidwalker's response flowed through Ben. I offer forgiveness freely. Now we must look forward, not back. 1 year later, the galaxy had changed. Humanity was granted full membership in a reformed galactic coalition, with the crew of the Star Voyager honored as special ambassadors. The remaining Voidwalkers emerged from hiding, working with all sentient species to create a network of dimensional anchors to halt the entropic wave. The Voidwalker that the humans had saved took a special interest in Earth's solar system. It could often be seen drifting among the planets, its beautiful form shimmering like a living aurora. On the observation deck of Earth's new lunar base, Ben Collins stood watching the Voidwalker dance among the stars. Ambassador Scyther joined him, his once cold demeanor now softened by newfound wisdom. I still don't understand, Scyther admitted. All other species chose fear when encountering the Voidwalkers. Why did humans alone choose compassion? Ben smiled, watching the beautiful creature that had once been a dying beast on a barren moon. It was now teaching humanity secrets of the cosmos that had been hidden for eons. Because sometimes, Ben replied, the universe doesn't need another advanced civilization. Sometimes it just needs a little humanity. As if hearing his words, the Voidwalker sent a pulse of warmth and gratitude that everyone on the base could feel. A simple message that needed no translation. Some bonds, once formed, last beyond time itself.